I just anticipate just a jolly hello from you now.
Okay.
When does a gentleman learn silence like that?
Did you like it?
Clearly.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
It's very what works, you know?
Oh.
Had I known a talkative you, none of this, there'd be no diary.
Sorry, I'm just lighting a candle.
Oh, wow. Okay.
To keep
Setting
warm.
the mood.
It's fucking freezing in here. No, I'm just joking.
Just like your hands over it.
Such a great smelling candle. White room? What you wear over them?
White room?
Yeah.
You should have saved it for the White Room episode.
Oh, mahogany teakwood intense. It smells fucking delicious. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Well.
Oh, wow. There it is. There it is.
Hi, I'm Brendan Fehr.
And I'm Majandra Delfino. A decade or two ago,
Closer to 3, really.
a while back, we starred in the cult hit WB show Roswell.
And while we are in fact ex-co-stars, we are also actual exes. In real life.
Boyfriend and girlfriend exes.
Unnecessary clarification. But welcome to the X-Files, where we analyze all things Roswell. Episodes, co-stars, guest stars, and all the goings-on in front of the camera and behind the scenes.
In our probe, we may or may not agree, we may or may not get along, but if our history is any indication, we will most certainly dig up old stuff from the past and throw down. With guests, old and new, weighing in on who was right and who was wrong.
Oh, if we remember it, we're going to talk about it.
And if we don't remember, it's all good, because I kept my teenage diary to cross-reference, corroborate, confirm.
Wait, what?
Correct. So be prepared to pick a side.
Your actual diary, like, for real.
Having a change of heart?
More like a change of underwear.
Welcome
To the X-Files.
Well, we got a great guest.
Oh, boy. Yeah, we do.
We always do, though.
True.
And we are starting... Okay. I just thought I saw there was something, and I was like, the candle's over there. Anyways, don't worry about it.
We are starting on
I'm not
iffy
drinking.
footing.
we
We are
are
starting to
starting off
realize
at a 0.06.
the drinking, albeit on pause, has had long-term effects. Okay, go ahead.
We're starting on the Hybrid Chronicles.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
The chronic what? Coals of
The Chronic.
hybrid.
Okay. To serve and protect. That is what we're doing. Original air date, January 22nd, 2001. Written by Breen Fraser. Directed by Jeffrey Levy. Do you remember Jeffrey? And I really want to pronounce this Hefe Levy. Hefere Levy. That's another way to spell. Did you had the thing about Jeffs, right? The Goffs? The Geoffs. This is another one.
Geoff.
Jack
That's exactly
Geoff?
what I meant. Jack Geoff. Yeah, like I'm just like,
Oh.
all right, Jack Geoff.
Okay.
Sorry to all Geoff. Something.
From Crash Into Me, The World of Roswell by Robin Burnett. First it was the skins, but they've been dealt with. Then we had the dupes, but they seem to have disappeared. Now we have more characters to contend with, only these characters come to the teens in a human form, or so it seems. The next few episodes are referred to as the Hybrid Chronicles. To Serve and Protect, the first of the series, deals with the consequences that can come with having powers as well as keeping secrets. In To Serve and Protect, Isabel, recreationally snooping into the minds of others, has curiosity killed the cat results, with the eventual victim being someone the teens care for. Bored, Isabel finds herself wandering through Kyle and Liz's dreams. Liz's PG-13 dream, yes, very, very much so, is amusing. Still bored, Isabel channel surfs into Kyle's, and Buddha We'll talk about him later. That is
We'll
not
get there.
your stereotypical Buddha.
Put a pin in that.
Informs Kyle that Max's healing has changed him. Now, do you recall why Kyle had to get healed?
Premature ejaculation.
Jack Geoff.
AKA Jack.
Kyle screams in horror as his lizard-like arm.
Is this why he had to be healed? Is that what we're calling it now? His lizard arm?
The lizard-like arm. Good for you, Kyle. Things take a dark turn as Isabel finds her stuff landing. Yeah, we got screaming David Lynch's Twin Peaks. Anyways, and Valenti goes through a whole bunch in this. Jim, we really put him in a tough spot. But having heard enough of me, why don't you start?
Start what? Oh, you want me to go off my notes?
Yeah, I mean, give me something. Fuck. Okay. Spying on your brother's girlfriend is a move.
Top notch. Now, I'm just gonna say.
I mean, they're high school. Yeah, okay.
It had a vibe. Like, she touched the yearbook, and I was like, "Where's this?"
Dude, this looks like a finger job, 100%.
A finger job. Oh my god! I just pulled my robe close more tightly. That's what they call masturbating in Canada. A finger job. Oh my god. But yeah, so already there. And I've had to do a lot of just analyzing.
Oh, okay.
Self
finger jobs. I've had to do a lot of
for research. No, I've had to, really look within as much as I'm capable of. And I just always go to this place where I'm like, what's wrong? Like, do I need to see someone?
Oh, okay. Kinsey.
Yeah. Where am I on that
Dr.
scale?
Kinsey.
But I'm glad that you were there with me. And by the way, there's more.
Oh. Go
and this
on,
is
please.
why our demographic. Please go on. I wrote when Liz starts to have that sexual ? Dream. Don't know what that was. I wrote, I don't remember this. Who the fuck is Brad?
Yeah, I don't know if I think he's like a
figment of her imagination.
Just a guy, yeah. Maybe? Or he wasn't that blind date guy.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
But hold on. You're wrong. The guy, when Brad comes in all in white and it's like a long shot, kind of.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be Jason.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, this is such a vibe on Jason. This all white outfit is making me very, and then it was Brad. And then.
Yeah. And I love too how he was sleeveless and she was sleeveless. Like, they removed the sleeves from her uniform. It was literally the uniform with the lapels and everything. And she was like barefoot.
Yeah.
Ew. Barefoot in that. I don't know. I don't care how clean you get the restaurant.
It was it is a dream. It was a remix.
In the dream, it's so clean.
It was a remixed waitress uniform.
Yeah, but what's interesting to me, and tell me if I'm wrong, as the non-pervert on this call, is this super hoey? I don't know. But isn't the automatic move when this guy comes up to you is to wrap your legs around him, even if he's just picking you up to put you down? Like, you get your legs out of the way. Oh, get your legs out of the way, Delfino. But do you know what I mean?
Gonna be on the tombstone. Old, get your legs out.
Here lies the legs that always got out of the way.
Exactly.
I do feel like even a child.
Horizontal, just like she always was.
At rest, finally, on her back. But even a kid or a monkey, you make space for the body with arms and legs, and she kind of just okay. I love too that I'm like, give me your opinion, but I'm still trying to talk you into it.
I know. Yeah, but I didn't notice that, but yeah, you would if I get picked up. I don't. I'm gonna have. I don't.
Hey, listen,
It made
it
me
can
feel
happen.
really uncomfortable. I was like, but
Shaquille
I don't know.
O'Neal.
I don't even want. I don't even know who it would be or what would be
You're a
happening.
very tall man. Very, very strong. Your leg get lifted up. Papi. But yeah, don't you think? I don't know. Yeah. That's what I thought. I was like, this is so strange. Did this man not make her feel comfortable? And then I wrote, Isabel doesn't like the Kyle porn because of Kyle's dream.
Yeah. I mean, that was more sexual than Sherry's dream.
100%.
But the Buddha was ripped. And I mean, Kyle, Nick is no slouch himself.
Really true. I was like, I gotta get myself to the gym when I saw that. Still not gonna do it, but
yeah, you're not gonna do that.
That's like the other day when I texted you, can we try an exercise? Read as, can we try an exercise like I want to start exercising? You were like, are you okay?
Yeah, I know. I was like, are you having is this code? Are you do you need help?
Like,
Is this a 911 where you're
Exactly. Is this your Apple Watch? Texting me? But yeah, that was so strange. The Buddha. Oh yeah, and then I loved how when the Buddha's phone rang, it was loops, ADR loops, like when you go in and have to tell people at home, when you have to redub your lines because someone was doing a soft shoe while you were talking. But it went beep, 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 like those exact, you know how those are like in our bones.
It was those,
yeah.
Okay. The timing, yeah, ADR beeps, yeah.
Exactly. Oh, sorry, this whole time you didn't know what I was talking about. My bad.
No, I did. I thought something was played, like it was going to be someone's ADR, like recorded lines in the phone call. And I was like, I don't remember that. But you're talking about that's actually kind of funny.
I will say, if there is really a Neuralink situation, like a smart chip to put in our brain, I think that's what I would do. I'd ask it to give me the beeps before I speak. Because I'm always speaking over you.
I don't think you are.
I speak over everyone and I'm like it's just the timing is so terrible. But if I had my ADR beeps, I'd know exactly when to come in. All right. Do you have any notes about the dreams? Because
I mean, I get Isabel gets a little FAFO with the dreams. A little fuck around, find out. Like
Fafo.
You can't go Fafo.
Who's Fafo?
You can't go. I mean, she ends up, eventually saving the day with them. But like, yeah, you can't go in other people's dreams. Max was very nonchalant about that.
I beg to differ. Look what happened.
He's like, don't do it. That's wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
But, and Jason's got a great jacket on in this episode. I noticed it. It was kind of a little bomberish blue jacket. It was very nice. And it's the introduction, which people wouldn't know originally, but they do now, of Allison Lang.
Yes, but we don't see. Oh, yeah, that's right. Her fit. Yeah.
You do see her fit. No one else would recognize her, but I obviously.
No, I obviously did as well.
Being a roommate. This necklace you're wearing.
I love it. Those 3 balls.
I was like, well, at first I thought I just saw them. And then I was like, this is the pearliest of pearly necklaces.
Mesh. They're like a silver mesh.
I know, but I was just,
Which, you're right.
I was like, quite the biggest pearl necklace ever.
Beep. I'm like doing the thing. No, it's true. If you don't know that they're mesh.
2, 1.
Sorry, can you start over? Can you do it again? They do look like pearls, but they are mesh, and that I knew from having worn them.
But you know what a pearl necklace is, right?
Is that a neck job?
It's a neck job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are some big.
That's what I was going to say. The pearliest of necklaces.
Oh, I see what you're saying. God, I was really slow, especially me of all people.
I mean, we just had this discussion where
my head wasn't in the.
Now, did you?
Hulu, which is where we watch this, are lovely streamers. They don't even give this show the dignity of a skip the song, skip the intro.
Maybe it's so good that they don't want to give fans that option. I don't know.
That's a beautiful way to look at it.
I didn't know Grant Sorensen was in it this long. I'm going to be perfectly honest. He was still in it. And I was like, what? Wait, he wasn't just a one-off?
bumming around. That's what I said. I was like, look who it is. Oh, Hotsy Totsy.
Just hanging out in Roswell. And then I wrote what happens to him because I don't know.
Oh, I'm on pins
know.
and needles.
I think I do know. I think I remember.
I don't know. I thought he was the sniper at the end.
I think he is. Is he not? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what's great. Isn't it so fun to just be experiencing this?
It's like watching the show all over again. It's really good.
Yeah.
Kyle and Tessa's relationship is it's great. Again, I like it.
She's eating the... What?
Did you hear that?
Sorry. No. That's your anus again?
Yeah. That's my water tank. Okay, good.
That's your name for it. Tess eating the sweet with the spicy. I said, this is Brendan and I in a year or two. Just the amount of Tabasco, like putting it in everything.
I know. We're always doing something like that.
With the spiciness, it's just, I'm losing all flavor.
You have a very fancy alien headband on. Is it?
This?
Not now.
No.
In the show, is it not different? Is it not like a redo? It feels like it's a little bigger. It's got like the silver crown and then balls, whereas I thought
No, they always had the silver crown.
Did you always have that?
Yeah.
I didn't notice it for the first time.
Well, it's probably because now in this...
I'm never looking
what
up
you
there.
just saw... Well, because I have no eyebrows, so you would know where else to look now.
Was that why?
God, I plucked the
I was so
crap.
uncomfortable with the eyebrows. I just was like...
Yeah. You had
Still
nowhere
go
to go
ahead,
but look up. Yeah, I wrote, plucked eyebrows. Thank you to my mother for her genes that allowed those to grow back. Because that is not what happened to most people during that time.
Yeah, I literally got I got 1 or 2 lines in this. I just Sean DeLuca, your cousin.
Well, I got to tell you, when Maria says, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. That's exactly what I said when I laid eyes on my ex-husband walking in the door. Didn't see that coming. Don't remember that.
Not ex-husband on the show.
IRL.
IRL. That's in real life.
Yeah, that's... it's a tough...
Yeah, and he called me, can I get some fries? Tough guy.
Yeah.
And I know what I wanted to say, but it was just scripted. No.
Yeah, it's tough because, you could have saved me from that failed marriage and said, you know what? Maybe the guy's not for you.
I think I did say something along those lines at some point in real life, and I think you got mad at me.
No, that was about David.
Well, I said something about him too.
Every boyfriend sins.
Every guy she wants to marry.
Which is a lot. Yeah, that was really shocking. And then I wrote, he flirts with Liz, only I fuck my cousin. Because it's very interesting. It's hard not to see, because for those listening at home, Devin was not on my radar at all as a potential suitor. So I don't think I was like infusing anything in there, but watching it back and seeing Maria get jealous or just be protective of Liz, it was like coming off as jealousy to me because I was infusing my own projection.
Right. Yeah. That's got to be a very... Yeah. When he came on, I didn't realize he was in this episode.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, oh, yes. Because like...
I don't remember.
Not to speak for you, and you can correct me, but it's a very... Like that... And I don't want to get... We can cut it out if you want. How long were you married to him for?
Well, I was with him for 7 years.
Okay. That's way longer than I thought. But how long... And you were married?
For 4 months.
Okay.
Well, that's on paper. We got a divorce pretty much right after coming home from the wedding. I was like, let's go back to being boyfriend-girlfriend.
Wow.
I blame you, Brendan. I blame people like you who were getting married way too young and making people like Devin, etc., think it's time.
Oh. I got, like I said, all my Canadian friends were married. I was like the last one.
Okay, well, I was
like the
Canada.
first in LA.
Okay. Yeah. Not all of us wanted to be a child bride.
Yeah. 7. Child bride, 7 years. And you got married in New Mexico.
Well, I had a place in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, before you did.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Wild.
I know. It's a beautiful wedding, though. We'll put up some pics. Let's share some pics. But yeah, that was like crazy. Didn't see that coming. Very interesting that like he wasn't on the radar. And then I just was like, my mother, what a saint. She is this child that honestly should have been with Grant.
That's the whole...
No, but as far as like, not that you guys were immature or anything like that, but this woman is watching me come home and be like, oh, Brendan broke my heart. Or like, oh, Devin, like these are baby men. Everyone just seemed very young.
Yeah.
And she has to take it dead serious.
I mean, I know. I'm going to get the same from my kids probably at some point. And it's going to be like, ooh, this guy, this is tough. This is...
No, not like this guy, but just like you're a kid. Like, don't get married already.
Right. Well, she did say that if I asked you to marry me, like you could not get married right away.
Well, because she was like, and I was like, I'm not marrying that fucker.
Yeah, I know.
But I think that if I had married you, she'd be like, well, you know, those two are always back together.
Yeah,
but like, Devin just comes out of the blue.
Well, 7 years is not out of the blue.
Right. But I think that...
That's a long fucking time.
Yeah. But even still, she was like... Because what's interesting is about you, she was like, just promise me you'll wait a year. She wasn't like, don't marry him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is so sweet if you actually think about it. I was like, no way, But, you know, Devin, it's just so interesting. And like, what a good sport she is.
So did you have a big so you had a great wedding?
I heard, did you have a big wet? I was like, oh.
Oh, gee, Brandon.
The answer's yes. No, I had a 60-person wedding with Devin.
Okay, and then you had another wedding with David.
Yes. I didn't do the whole, like, I am a woman who should be ashamed, you know.
I wasn't going to do that, but after one wedding, like, would you just go, like, I don't need, like, I got that experience, don't need another wedding, we can go to the office, the court office, whatever. What's it called?
I haven't met David.
Oh,
so yeah,
well.
He hadn't, you know, he needed a wedding.
He needed a wedding.
Well,
you did
not needed. He's very whatever, you know. But
well, yeah, the family, like you want to do it right.
Yeah,
but if you had the choice, if you had the choice at that time, let's say he had been married already, and you guys met, would you do a wedding then? Would you spend more money on a wedding when the two of you are like, let's just...
Well, first of all, my first wedding was very creative, very like 60 people only, very like, didn't hurt the purse strings by any stretch.
Okay.
You know, we were very smart about it, but, you know, that's the thing. There was a lot that showed that like, I wasn't really wanting to do that.
Okay.
So when I did get married to David, it felt like, oh, this is like, I get to have a wedding and I'm like excited.
Oh.
And he's, you know, David is a good time gal.
And he does like the pomp and circumstance a little bit, right? Like he is...
I mean, I would say more that he's one of 7 kids. So just his family alone is 30 people.
Right.
That's half my wedding from the first. And so I wanted him to have like a wedding that, you know, befits a dude with a lot of friends. He had 13 groomsmen. And so 75 to 80% of our guests were from his side.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it was lovely. Went till 4 a.m.
Sweet. Back to the show. I didn't have many notes on this one, but are we not chasing the kidnapper? Like after Valenti and Max team up and then Valenti gets a shot off and presumably hits him at least once, wounds him. Are we not tracking him? To find they just kind of both sit there. And Max has alien powers. Like he could probably heal himself if he got shot. Maybe. That's interesting.
Well,
talk about a finger job.
You're actually asking questions that I can't answer.
But I would think you would chase him.
Yeah.
Isn't that your cop instinct?
I was very confused. I felt like there wasn't a lot. Like, what can he do? What can't he do? What makes them look suspicious? What doesn't?
Everything was suspicious. I mean. And then fucking Hansen again. He needed to die. The do-gooder. He fucks him over again with the whole bullet casings
one of my notes was, who the fuck is this Hanson? You know? Like, he has way too much power to fuck things up.
We are like anti-whistleblow. Me and Majandra are like
Totally.
most awful people.
Yeah,
Like, you
he's
don't
not
rat, you don't
helping the
whistleblow.
cause. God, no. He needed to be let in, but he was like a frappuccino drinking, earnest, you know, he would like a big wedding. You know what I mean, Hanson?
100%.
He was too like sweet and innocent for the cause. We need to get rid of him.
I called it long ago.
Well, you
before
wanted
even-
to kill him.
That's what
I meant have him go to another station? What do we call it? Precinct. Thank you.
Yeah, like Bill's got to get on that. Like, kind of find a way to tamper that down. Like, put him on traffic duty or something like this. He can't let him be nosing around these crime sites. Crime sites?
Cram sites.
Crime
suits.
scenes. That's what I
What
knew.
is-
Crime sites sounded.
What
weird.
is that guy that just like won't leave Valenti alone? What is his name?
Dan?
Dan. Well, first of all, I had a weird recovered memory. Did you ever watch the show Dragnet? It was so good. Dragnet.
Yeah, like the old. Yeah.
It was like a balm. And then I was like, what was wrong with my childhood that like I would just take so many, I'd watch like episodes and episodes of Dragnet, and I felt like
Well,
it was such a like
Dragnet SWAT. Dragnet SWAT.
No way. Dragnet was like Lou. Like that guy had no charisma. No knock. I'm sure he's dead. But you know what I mean? He was like, "Ugh," like he'd barely say.
Every time we say something bad about someone, we go, I'm sure they're dead. I hope they're dead.
Listen, I hope they're dead. Okay. For their sake. But it really was like he just, you know, like you could tell he reeked of cigarettes
Ugh.
and whiskey. And I just found it so comforting. I know. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh boy.
I'm in.
But yeah, so that guy was kind of like channeling that a little. But I was like, how does Jim Valenti not say to Dan, like, the fuck, get out of my office? I'm working. Like he was so pesty. He
I
was
know.
everywhere.
Pesky.
Pesty, he was a pest.
I know, but pesty?
Yeah, pestici. He was a pastis. Anyway, he was such a pest. I couldn't stand him. I wanted him gone.
Patisserie gets all
He's a
hungry.
patisserie, you know. He was like a little chocolate croissant. Okay, I did write hello with so many O's. Allison. Kind of lechy of me.
Yeah,
just
well,
excited
you
to
did
see
talk
her.
about Iraq earlier, too.
I know. I'm realizing a lot I need to unpack, you know?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, we can get to... I think people just want us... they like us, but I think
Yeah.
they're interested in the guest. 2, as well, combo. It's Nick Wechsler.
First of all, welcome.
Welcome.
Did you watch?
I did.
Yeah, it's the beginning of the Hybrid Chronicles. That's what the series is called. After Meet the Dupes, these next 4 or 5, like the Laurie Dupree stuff, and is all considered the Hybrid Chronicles. And I think they last 4 or 5 episodes. There's a little bit of that. But yeah, is this when you turn? When do you go Buddha?
I must have done it like an episode or so before, because don't ask me is the main thing, but it must have happened like at some point before this, a few episodes before or something, because they do this. In this episode she dreamwalks me, and then there's like a shredded Buddha that I dream about.
I know, dude, he's ripped. I remember him though.
Yeah. I mean, so was I, but
two
it was
shredded
crazy.
Buddhists. It was so wild. I was like, what is this in-shape Buddha? I thought it was supposed to be
Yeah.
the complete opposite.
Yeah. I also love that that's all I dream about.
I know.
Yeah.
Dream about myself meditating with the shredded Buddha.
Well, Liz's dream was, I mean, exactly what Katie said. It was like, it wasn't just boring. I was just like,
I know. I also love that, like,
Really?
he's an alien who saves your life, but you're like dreaming him powers that like he doesn't have because it's not cool enough that he can save your life, and you know,
she wants
like-
the rose petals falling from the sky.
What's crazy though is like that Brad guy, he approaches her and she doesn't like straddle him or anything. She's like, "Ugh," like really like Yeah, just lies down. Exactly. I was like, I don't
You
know
do
that you do it. It's so true, though. It's so interesting. I was like, I don't think she's into this guy. I don't know what it was, but it was very, like,
Yeah.
I did not.
Dream yourself a guy you like.
Yeah,
Jeez.
like, what is this? Chastity belt, chastity legs.
I'm looking this up. I should have looked it up beforehand, but I'm trying to figure out, because we did the episode. Do you recall yours and Emily's ship name?
No. The lamp trimmers?
Yes. And that's where I think that's the first episode, which I think it's just the first, I think it's Skin and Bones, but I could be wrong. Now people are gonna
Now, why does
chastise
lamp
me.
trimmers sound so pornographic? Because of trim? No, I'm
Clearly. Because I couldn't even help myself.
Well, now when you say it like that.
But every time I hear it, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's very sexual to me.
Is it?
I really feel it is.
Why. That's why.
It's always felt so, for me, like so disconnected from sex or romance. It's always felt like such a, I don't know. I think it was just because I didn't know what lamp trimming was, and then I learned it had something to do with Buddhism. So my mind just always associated with that, and it just never felt.
But wait, okay, what does it have to do with horny?
Well, because he says he's yeah, it is. I think it is in Skin and Bones, but it's definitely in the and we haven't done the second one, which is Ask Not. And so it's in the premiere of season 2 where you become or get into Buddhism, and then that's where Lamp Trimmers arrives.
Oh, right.
Because
don't I have a line about it? I have a line about it or something. In
you
one
do.
I say, like, trim the lamp of wisdom or some shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's almost hitting on you though. But isn't there something almost sexual going on? And then you like go Zen or whatever it is,
That
and you
sounds
try
right.
to like push it away. I think that's where the sexual connotation might come from.
Right.
But we've
completely
watched a
missed
few
that.
episodes, and we always comment how you, Bill, and Emily have the best dynamic. Like, it's so much fun to watch.
Like it's a
fun.
family we want to belong to.
Well, it's funny. I feel like I see other people's, like, everything everybody else is doing on the show, and I would like watching the show that last night was I haven't watched it in forever, and it was reminding me of how kind of left out I felt.
Did you, Nick? Oh, that's so
Because-
sad.
Look, I'm sure the insecurity started well before I ever got work, but he's let in on the secret. He's kind of part of the group. You don't get a girlfriend. What are you, a fucking idiot? You know, I don't know. Like
You got Vicky Delaney.
Yeah. Jesus, you're never gonna let it go.
He's so upset about
I think
that.
he wanted Vicky Delaney.
Of course.
No, I remembered. I just feel good about myself just
You sure
remembering
do
something
remember.
like that.
Won't let us forget.
But yeah, I don't know. I was think it's weird that, like, I think it was like it was like maybe the start of me getting jobs where it was like, no, you don't get to have a love interest. Everybody else does.
Is that like a reoccurring thing for you, Nick, in general? Do you play a lot of characters that don't get the trim?
Because even Bill's getting some this episode.
I know. Or like, you know, he gets Mrs. DeLuca later and stuff,
Yeah.
and it's like with me, they're like, I don't know. I felt like, is there something like wrong where I'm like just not considered attractive or not considered like sexual, like in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
like
You're
in, in the
am I
fuck Mary
asexual?
kill, I'm either marry or kill, but nobody would fuck me. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
And
That's
so
so interesting.
you
I wonder if
associated
it's-
not having a love interest with like feeling left out? Because I would think that would free you up. Like, then I'm not tied down. Then they can kind of, take the character anywhere. We all know how I feel about, marriage on television shows, marrying couples off. I think it's like the kiss of death.
We all do, except me.
Yeah.
You
haven't listened to the podcast. But I think marriage, I've said it over, like when you marry, like when Katie marries Jesse, or when Isabel marries Jesse, Katie marries Adam, we discuss, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, why would you make like a 19-year-old smoke show, like, put her in a married domestic situation?
Yeah,
like,
it's like,
don't
why
do that. Don't do that
age her up like that, or I
to
don't
a
know.
TV show. And so then the opposite, when you don't have a love interest, you get to, I feel like they can be some of the most interesting characters because you are kind of freewheeling it. The writers don't have to, we got to put them with her. We got to put them with, we got to put them with them. I mean, it works out when it's done really well.
Right.
But it also just feels like, I thought you stood out because everyone was paired up. Like, it was me and Majandra, it was Jason and Shiri, and then even Alex and Katie were obviously, she's got Grant Sorensen, and then ends up getting married. But I just thought it would have, I don't know. I didn't, as an actor, I would have been like, okay, good. Like, I have my own lane here. I'm not tied to anyone.
Yeah. It's almost like it just makes you a dud to be like in a boring relationship.
Yeah, they'd put you with someone and then not do anything with it. And then you'd be like, well, this sucks even more.
Yeah.
I think it, like I said, the insecurity probably started before, and I probably just, noticed the thing I felt like I wasn't getting that everybody else was getting or whatever. And even at the time, I think I just, like, my mind flagged it, but I was like, whatever, happy to have a job.
Yeah.
But then just like, seeing it now, I'm remembering, I remember feeling weird about it and just like never really telling anyone.
Yeah, it struck me now like that they were teeing up Kyle and Tess. But did that feel sort of like, okay, they're just trying to like force something there, or no?
No, I mean, I think when it was happening, I was like, oh, cool, I get a little, like...
Get a little something.
yeah. I think I felt like, I don't know.
Trying to catch glimpse of her at the house while she's changing.
Yeah. Fucking pervert. But yeah, I feel like if the thing is they want to pair characters up and like, I feel like I wasn't considered for it or something, it would feel weird.
Well, I think, but you were used, originally, obviously, Kyle is, you're the third wheel in the Max Liz thing, right? Like, you were the ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, but then once I'm inside and I'm friends with you fucking dorks.
Just two.
And you never got one?
No. Look, not in real life either. No, I'm kidding. I'm fine about this. It was just a thing that I remember when I was watching it. I was like, oh yeah, I remember feeling a little funny about that. But I'm not even like complaining. It's more like I'm observing my own insecurity and being like, oh, thank God I wouldn't feel as weird. Well, I was gonna say I wouldn't feel as weird about it now, but I think I would. Yeah, I think I'm just observing it.
Do you think it affected your performance, or it just took you back to like off camera moments, like what you were feeling in real life?
That.
Okay. Which is so funny too, because at this point, Katie is with Jason, right? In real life.
Right.
And then you and I, of course. And, it's just like only... And by the way, okay, wait a minute. So yesterday, which is when I watched it, I was driving my son to school, and I have like that thing on. Did you know I had a child, Brendan?
I did, but I was like, are you watching it while you're driving your child to school?
No. So yesterday, as I'm driving my child, if you just listen. As I'm driving him to school, he goes at a different time than his sister. I have like on my satellite where it'll change to John Lennon. Like, it's like a favorite artist. So it'll just change like what I'm listening to. And it changes. And it is my wedding song to my first husband, R.I.P.
I know. I was I was going to ask how you feel about
Well,
I
so
was
then,
wondering the same thing.
so I go to my son. I was like, oh my God, this is so funny. This is my wedding song to my first husband. And every time he always goes, you were married before dad? Like, it's like, you know this.
Yes, idiot. How many
Yes.
times do I?
And then he goes, oh, that's so cool. I have a stepdad and I have to explain again.
No, idiot.
Yeah, like poor like Devin just out in the wild, not knowing that he's like beholden to having to stepfather Louie. So that was like a weird thing where I was like, oh, how strange. I haven't thought about that at all. And then I start watching. I do not recall a thing about this episode. And in walks Devin. And I was like, oh my God, that's right. Sean DeLuca. And at that time, he and Shiri became an item. So you had me, Brendan, Katie, Jason, and then Shiri and Devin. It's like, who else?
Alex is in Sweden and Kyle's got no one.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think it like it probably again, I cannot believe I've made this into this now, and now we're.
I know. Sorry, we're like just making it worse too. We're like, yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah,
you
no, we felt bad for you too.
You know what?
we would talk about it.
Glad we got into this right away.
But I think there's a thing like where if you're like, okay, I'm on this show with everybody and I'm like single too, and no behind the scenes, no one shows any interest in you, but they all date each other, and then on the show they don't write you to have a girlfriend either. You're like, is it me? So
yeah,
I think it's that. I think it's that
100% makes sense.
That's
well, if it's any consolation, the first time I saw you, Nick, I was like, this is very like I talk about this all the time, but I truly was like, this is the most beautiful man I have ever seen. Brendan gets so upset. It's so true. I don't know what to say. I like walked into the table read and was like, oh my God, who is this vision? And then of course, I had maybe 5 seconds to like take in the wonder and beauty. And then in just comes this fucking Canadian with the cowboy hat and the fucking red skin from how long did you stay out in the sun by accident?
I didn't know how the sun worked, man. I thought this was, again, throughout this podcast, we've talked about how the show changed from season to season.
Oh yeah.
And this is the 8th episode, which felt like we raced through it. We had the Summer of 47, which was kind of a one-off. We had the dupes for that little while to explain the four pods that were in Summer of 47, the other 4 aliens. And so it feels like that went really off the rails pretty quickly in terms of from season 1. But now having watched this, and then I did some research and I watched some other ones later on in the Hybrid Chronicles. I think we're fine, but I think we're back to finding our footing though. Like I thought this was a good episode, and I think they just get better and better. Like we actually kind of righted the ship here for a little bit. I thought it was a good mix of a little bit of everything.
I was taking it in afresh. I was so confused, and there was so much coming at me. It took me so long to just digest how much I plucked my eyebrows. I was so confused by Kyle's Buddhism, and then I was like, it made me mad at David, my husband. It was very similar to shit he says. He's like, when I die, lay me on my side for 7 days. Like,
What were your overall impressions of the show, like looking back 25 years later? Maybe not this episode. I mean, just kind of, if it's not specifically this episode, what this may have, what else it may have like triggered, or any thoughts that arose.
Well, I was just going, oh fuck, everybody's good. Like I just didn't have like a full appreciation. I've said this a version of this before, but like if for like what we were getting to do at the time, like for and uh, uh and just seeing like, oh, everybody's capable, and this is a pretty good show. Like,
I know.
I don't know. I mean, look, it has its like early 2000s tells, but it's still a good show. Like, everybody's still good. And yeah, there's some cool, fun beats. Like, it's interesting to see yourself even from a distance of a couple decades. And there's a not just because, I mean, I'm older looking now, but also, so not big yearning for the youth, but yearning for the innocence I had, like yearning for the.
I want the youth back. I can't get it up anymore.
But I don't know. I feel like I'm a weirdly more self-conscious actor now, and then I was just like, believe me, I at the time I felt like, I feel like technically I'm more capable now, but I'm more in my head. And then my only goal was to like make myself laugh or something. And
Yeah, you were loose.
yeah, and I just didn't. Yeah, I didn't put as much of like, no, you've got to fucking act, man. You've got to really make something of this moment in this scene. I didn't put any of that pressure on myself, and I see that in it.
Do you think you were more? Do you think like you were more playful? Do you think you still have a little bit of that in you, but it just comes out differently? Because if you were to see some of your performances now, would you say you've obviously gotten better? You're improved. There's more experience there.
I think there's like more depth to my performances now, but I don't. But I think I've lost a lot of the playfulness. I've lost a lot of the like. It's funny because I remember feeling pretty self-conscious when I was on the show, but I feel way more self-conscious now. I think at the closer to the time, I felt like I can't watch this. Like me, I'm bad. Like I would want to watch to see how it came off at first, and then after an initial watch, I didn't feel like, oh, I want to see that. Like I was like, I can't. I don't want to watch me because I'm just like bad or something, But I see some of it now, and I'm like, going easy on young me, like, oh, you had a thing, young me had a thing I don't have now, and that I wish I had back,
But do you think you could get it back? Like, do you think that, how when you learn, like from my experience was I hadn't taken any classes. I just was going off of pure instinct. I wasn't putting pressure on myself. I just thought, this is the way to do it. This is what I want to do. And I thought it was good, and I had the confidence or the arrogance, even of just being young, of like, no, this is the right way to do it. This is a good way. And I can execute it. Yeah. And then I remember I was close to this one part for a film, and the casting director said, okay, this is really good stuff. I'm going to bring you in next week, but you got to go do some work. You got to get the work. You got to work this character a little more. And I was not, and I went, yeah, sure, yeah. And then I got home, and I was just like,
you polished off your Russian accent and got to work.
yeah. And I went, what does that mean? What
you
kind
got
of
your
work?
mime costume out.
I was like, but what am I going to do that's going to make it different? Like, I'm going to, like, what kind of work is there to be done? I think I know. I thought I liked it. It was good. And she thought it was good. That's why she's calling me back. And so I didn't know. So I went back, did it in front of everyone, and you could just see like the disappointment in her face. Like, and
I didn't work this at all.
I didn't, because I didn't know what the fuck to do.
Oh, you didn't overwork it.
I certainly didn't overwork it. No, I didn't do any work on it, because I was just like, oh, I'll just do it better.
Right.
Like, I didn't have a method, right? Like, I didn't do backstories or do this. I just went, fuck, okay, I'll make sure I do it better. And I can't even explain what that means. So how the fuck are you going to make that happen?
Be better.
So then, so
Be best.
then, so then you do get self-conscious, right? Because you're just like, oh, okay, now my instinct and my youthful charm, or maybe think they've seen everything I can do. Okay, I got to figure out what the work is and how I'm going to do it. And then you start getting in your own head about that. And I think I've gone through like a decade or two of working that out and being more self-conscious because I'm trying to be better, right? I want to be more playful. I want it to have more depth. I want it to have more layers. But it takes time and it takes work and it takes, being on set as well. And I think I'll eventually get to a place where I won't have my youthful ignorance back, but I believe because I have no choice but to, I believe I will get to a place where all my experience and all that stuff will eventually kind of just fold into something where I go, and I think it comes with age, where you just go like, fuck it, I'm going to do what I want. And the playfulness will return in a way because you've put so much work in, and then you go, what am I doing at this age?
Dude, I hope so. Because like, I'll say earlier in my career, I got more roles that were like, they were, I wasn't getting leads. I was getting like, kind of side character roles where they maybe didn't have as much pressure on them. They hadn't like totally developed, they didn't develop, like, not a lot of the stories hinged on them and stuff. And so I felt like when I showed up and I was doing something to make myself laugh, they were like, oh, that's fun for this character. Yeah, let's do that. But then as I started to get more like, I don't know, my auditions got older and then it was like, I was getting more like leading man auditions. Suddenly my impulses to do weird shit or make him dryly strange or something, my humor wouldn't, it always felt like it was an asset when I was like playing and auditioning to play a character that didn't have a lot of pressure on him. But when I was auditioning to play like one of the leads, they're like, it's not what we're looking for. Like,
they're also not written that way.
What's that?
They just don't write interesting leads a lot of time, especially for network television, right? It's like...
But I also think there's a few things. There's the curse of the leading man, where any sense of quirkiness or goofy or whatever is like, oh, heaven forbid that's like sexy, unless you're doing a Ryan Reynolds bit.
Right.
And then you're on network television, you're like noted to death. It's not like a very freeing environment, which is interesting on Roswell to watch how we were free. And then the clamp down started to happen more and more. And you can see all of us getting more and more self-conscious and smaller, That sounded like a weight thing, but that too. And then I think that it's just comfort. I bet, Nick, if you were on a It's Always Sunny, in every sense of the word, where you're like left alone and get to like find the weirdness or find whatever you want, you'd be there again. I'd give you a year if you were just really in your head for it to just dissipate.
And I have to imagine you had that on The Boys a little bit, right? Or no?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't. I mean, I wasn't on The Boys long enough to
feel comfortable.
To know how loose they keep it or whatever. But the times that like, I know that on It's Always Sunny, they improvise a lot. Like, they'll script it and then they'll do it as scripted, but then they'll let themselves go nuts. And kind of best idea wins, kind of, and the on The Boys, I get the impression you gotta stick to it a little more, but they gave me so much freedom. Like, it was one of the best experiences ever because there was, I don't know, man. I felt like even if in their heads they were like, I don't know if we're going to use that take, there was never a moment where they, it always felt like yes and. It always felt like they were back there going, this is killing us. This is great. Like, just keep doing what you're doing. And then, you know, they were just thinking, we'll make sure we get what we need for the edit. But other than that, like, we hired you to go crazy, you know?
But that's also like a pressure where you're like, oh, like,
Yeah,
I better deliver.
Except I was having the time of my life with the character. Not because I'm a racist, but because he...
I love playing racist.
Yeah. Just because it was like, I don't know, like some of the, once the character came out, once I sort of found him, I was like, when I was at home, rehearsing for the audition, I was like, oh, this kills me. If I can do it like this would be very funny to me, and fucked up funny, but like, you know,
right.
And then they just obviously got it, and I mean, you know, the show was very funny, and so I, you know, but yeah, so yeah, I did feel it's a fair point, Brendan. I did, you know, feel a bit more of that, like, freedom. That,
yeah,
you know.
and I think it's the nature of the show and the set. You know what I mean? Like, I really do. I don't think we've lost it. I think we got it a little bit beaten into us, you know, with the stuff you kind of end up auditioning for, you know, like on the Christmas movies that I've done. It's just like, there's no fucking doing, you can't be goofy or like, it's just, they want straight leading man, say the lines, get the, like, network television has been kind of the same, where
yeah, it's like sanitized.
They're not looking for, they're just, I think they're too scared, you know, and they're covering their own ass and network and whatever the case may be. They're just going, just play it straight, man. And then, you know, we'll take it from there. But anything kind of outside, they're too afraid. And I think we've gotten that pounded into us.
I also think it's like a taste thing. Like I look back on so many of these roles that I was like, why am I not being considered for this? Like, why? And the people are so boring. Do you know what I mean? Like the leading hot girl's like boring. But yes, she's blonde and in a bikini and whatever. But you're like, I would love a personality, you know, but it's just like, but that's obviously not boring to the rest of the world because they love that. But I think it is that kind of thing of like, I feel like I'm so boring doing these lines like this. And it's like,
sorry,
please. No.
I think you're like, I would argue that it's not, that it's, you know, because you're saying like it's obviously not boring to the audience or whatever. I'm like, I think the audience eats whatever sludge you put on the plate, and like maybe not whatever, because sometimes shows just don't get watched, but right. But as long as it's mostly edible, they'll eat it. And I think if you give them something, I see being like unexpectedly, you know, quirky or fun or whatever the fuck, as like nutrition.
Right.
And I'm like, you can make the meal nutritious as well.
Right.
And I think they would actually, and it can also be pretty fucking tasty. I think that they just don't know what they're missing. Right. Because the industry just doesn't put us on the menu often. I'm not even saying I'm so fucking cool or whatever. It's just I have impulses that I don't get to employ a lot of the time, and I'm like, and I feel like every now and then I'll see a little piece of it on Roswell, and I'm like, I miss being able to do that. Like, you know, what's up, Brennan?
Well, I also think it's just, there's tiers of it, right? Like we get, you know, these kind of sterilized, you know, leading men roles from networks or whatever else, right? Where they're only going to write the quirky guy for the, you know, for the side characters. But the reason that's the case is because the writer's trying to sell their script, then pitch it. If they put something too quirky in there, all the networks are out. It's probably got to go to cable or something like this, right? So they're feeling a pressure as well to write something fairly sterilized.
Oh, yeah.
And then the networks, they themselves are feeling a pressure that they can only pick up something that they can go like, hey, these are our comps, right? This is NCIS does really great. It's been on, for a gazillion years. This show is really great. And they're all relatively sterilized kind of procedural shows that middle America likes, that make a lot of money. And so to pick up anything or to ask for anything else to be written or to get another actor to bring something really interesting to it, it's too risky.
Totally.
And so I think it's like all the way up there until you get these shows that, you have some great little quirky shows. And when they work really well. And then people try to basically copy them. And then it just feels like a reproduction, doesn't feel authentic. And then, the studios and the networks go, yep, see, they don't really work. That's just kind of 1 in a million shot. So let's go back to, NCIS Ohio. Let's just put that out there.
Is there an NCIS Ohio?
No, it's going to be next, though.
NCIS-OHIO.
Exactly. SVU, Utah.
CUUTAH. Just have to spell everything from now on. Yeah. No, it's very true. That's how I ended up getting stuck. Not stuck. I mean, what I'd give to be hired. But in the
I'd love to be stuck in a job right now.
Yeah. But just leaning in really hard with comedy, which is so fucking scary and can also feel really soul crushing. But because you're I can't play this game. I can't be Ali Larder,
Right. Even
if I got every surgery in the world to try to look right, the weirdness is going to come out. It's just, I'm going to say something like a fucking weirdo and it's going to turn into a whole other movie. I mean, no one would even hire, but yeah, it's so funny. And then of course, the most famous movie stars are the quirky, our Sandy Bullocks, our Ryan Reynolds.
That's the thing. It's so much more interesting I feel like we keep getting this message to tamp it down. We're sort of inundated with this subconscious messaging, but then you see the people that sort of got there on their own terms, got there being showing their sort of weirdness and fucking what the fucking Iron Man? Why the fuck can I think
Robert
of his name?
Downey.
Yeah,
Yes, Robert Downey. Perfect example of someone who just has a genuine,
totally,
kind of quirkiness or strangeness that would, he would get hired because of this. But I feel like maybe it's a lot of it was that we were doing TV a lot, and
right,
and TV is often looking for something safer and
more
stuff,
palatable,
but,
right?
right.
Yeah. It's there's that whole Rick Rubin interview, or I can't remember who was interviewing him, but he was just talking about essentially art by committee,
right,
or art made to appeal, art with the audience in mind is not great. He's it's not for me. He's I'm misquoting the fuck out of it, but he's essentially saying there's a mistake in judgment thinking of making art to appeal to the most people. You
it almost ceases to be art. It becomes it does become content,
well,
or just
he says
product.
It becomes commerce.
Yeah.
It's not so yeah, he's the thing is to make something that is very personal to you, that has your taste, your weird sensibility, and it will find its audience. It will appeal, and it might not be for everyone, but that's way more interesting. And so yeah, so that's the thing that's always frustrated me is I feel like I've gotten this messaging that like, I don't know, just like, it's hard, you know, you're told no your whole fucking career. And you start to feel delusional, like keeping on and thinking that you have some thing that's maybe worth putting on the menu. But and you almost feel arrogant for daring to think, but I swear to God, I would find this more interesting.
Right.
If the lead had these weird sensibilities and had, I would be so much more into that. And when I help friends with auditions, I'm always trying to tell them, like, don't do what you think they want.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, because to be honest, what they want is boring. Because what they want is commerce. What they want is a safe thing that's gonna not rock the boat, whatever. I'm like, at least to get the part, do what you want. Like, don't look at it like you're auditioning for this part. You're auditioning to like for a chance at anything these people are doing in the future or whatever. And the only way you're going to stand out is bringing some sensibility, something that is more unique to you. Your combination of impulses and your sensibility, your humor, and all that. It's like, let that come through more, because the down the middle of the road performance is the way everyone else is going to do it, and at least to me that is not interesting. And by the way, I find myself doing the down the middle of the road performance on a lot of shit.
I've done it too.
And I fucking hate myself.
Well, because sometimes it is written that way, where you're going like, unless I change this, there is very little to do with this, given the interaction and the way it's written. And that's why for some auditions, or for a lot of them, it'll be for the leading guy or one of the main guys, and then I'll read the script and I'll go, can they see me for like Richard instead? Like, because Richard will be some supporting character or whatever else, some side. And I go, I got a better idea. Like he would be more fun to play for me. I don't need to be the lead in the show. I need to do something that I would find interesting. And the way he's written, I see a bunch of possibilities on doing something fun and different, especially, for me, that would make it fun for me. And I think that would then make it fun for everybody else. Or, mostly, you're not who they're looking for. And I'm like, fuck.
Anyone else in mind? They have
literally anyone. They might go female.
Anyone but you.
No, so for you as a woman, how does like?
Are you talking to Brendan?
I'm glad you asked, Nick.
He's like, go ahead.
No, to you, like, does it like, I don't know. I mean, I know you already talked a bit about your experience, but just because women were, well, I was saying were, I mean, it hasn't totally improved, but just written differently a lot and not given the same opportunities to be complex or imperfect or quirky or whatever. I feel like there's, because you were treated like arm candy for so long, there's like almost even like, because guys get to be this, like these imperfect, lovable fuck ups, and then the girl has to be like, maybe there's a different pressure on them to be like a certain way, like more of a box or something. I don't know if I'm thinking of this right.
The messaging is almost like you're not going to be loved, like you're not going to be a romantic interest if you're like not a little bit of a robot woman, like type A cheerleader, whatever,
Right.
But yeah, it's very interesting because I think that's something that's like most girls back during Roswell, like, didn't even know that you could be flawed just, off screen. So it was like, you weren't even thinking about on screen. You're like, what do you mean?
It's Grant Sorensen. Well, it's more that I'm thinking like, he was he looked too old for her. And I don't mean any slight to him. I was like really uncomfortable. Like when we first see him, he's got like a lot of long stubble, and I was just like, what is this like 40-year-old doing dating her?
I remember when his first episode, we've already done it, where he goes on screen, and I'm just like, who's the fucking man?
My note, Nick, during that one was like, hello, Grant. Like, suddenly, because I think at this age, do you know what I mean? Like, but at that age, I didn't even see him. I was like, oh, he must be a writer. Like, yeah, he was so old. It was wild.
I wonder how old he is, actually.
I know. I was wondering the same thing. Like in my notes for the ep, I was like, I was kind of thinking like, oh, he got killed off. He got killed off, right?
He was on way longer than I thought he was.
I'm dying to know what happens to him because I don't know. I'm watching.
Yeah, I know. I have that in my notes. It's like, what happens to Grant?
Yeah,
I think he gets killed off, and I think, and I was thinking like,
guys, I thought he was the one holding the gun.
He was being punished for being too old for her, but then I was like, well, actually, maybe I'm just like wrong. Like maybe he's not that old, and he just like looks older.
Okay, hold on.
This guy was born, the man who played him, Jeremy Davidson.
Yeah.
It was born in 1971. He's 53.
6 years older. So that's a lot. We were like, 18 to 20.
Yeah, so this was like, I'm like, I think the guy, and I don't mean any offense to him, he's great.
Oh, yeah.
Has a look where I'm like, no, you're a man. Like, you're a 40-year-old man. You've looked 40 since you were 20.
And me and Majandra always talk about this, where I don't feel like I look 40. Like, I still feel like a kid. Like, he just looks significantly older than the rest of us. And not in a bad, again, like Nick said, not in a bad way. It's just that's his fucking vibe and face. He just had a whole different thing going on.
I don't know. I just had Grant Sorensen is too old. He died because he's too old for Isabel. Stop trying to date high school chicks. No one else has a beard. I had that. I love how in the previously on, Liz asks if when Max healed me, I saw things, but she says it all horny. Like I'm not going to realize she's admitting she saw things, and it was awesome. Like it's this weird thing where she's like, when he healed you, did you like see things? And I was like it's like really weirdly insensitive to me to be like revealing that it turns you on that when he healed you, it got you all fun, like
it's violating.
Like, no, I didn't see.
You're
anything.
also like, it moved a little, but
did anything jump?
I came a little. Let's see. Why is Max? Oh, this is stupid. Just why is Max and Izzy's TV so tiny?
That was my first note. I was like, what the fuck? That's got kitchen TV written all over it. That house scares me. Their house. I don't know why. It gives me the worst vibe. Where Max and Isabel were homed.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I'm like, oh, it just gives me a terrible feeling.
Their family's supposed to be so nice, right?
I guess it's just like the parents that are nothing like you and know nothing like you is like kind of scary to be having to perform every day. I don't know. It just freaked me out every time. And I love Mary Ellen. Not so much that dad though. But really? That TV was so tiny.
Yeah. It's like, I get that you need to film them from the back of the TV.
Back then though, dude.
I know.
Oh, I didn't understand this line. Like when what's her name was crying about the missing girl, her mom, the mom that told Valenti that she had a crush on him when she was younger.
Out of nowhere, the Fosters.
The fact that she's just in that diner.
She's just in the diner, sitting in the corner. I was like, "Who is it? Am I missing something?" I was like, "Oh no, that's her introduction," and she's never seen again.
Is this a Tinder hookup? I was so confused.
Well, and then she's like, "No, but I'm actually married." So it's like, oh.
Yeah, I was like,
why'd you bring it up? Leave me alone.
Somebody's bored. Yeah.
But then she when later they find they're looking for her daughter, and she's at the sheriff's office and the police office, and and she's like crying, and she's like, "Oh, they're like, does she have a cell phone?" And she says,
"I wrote the same thing down."
"No, I took it away. She was spending too much money."
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah, minutes.
Was she using the phone to spend the money somehow?
No, minutes.
This was before smartphones.
Minutes. She was spent 2 minutes. Remember we'd get charged for minutes? I wrote that down. I was like, minutes. Like I had totally forgotten that was a thing.
Yeah. I just literally forgot. I forgot it so much that I thought she took away her cell phone
Yes.
to punish her for spending cash.
Totally. That's what I thought too. I was like, wait
It's
a
like,
minute. I got to figure
You're
this out.
spending too much of our family's cash.
Yeah.
You don't get a cell phone anymore. And I didn't know. I didn't even think about minutes.
Yeah. I like had a whole flashback. I was like, oh my God, minutes. And like, I was remembering just really brutal times in life where I forgot.
Yeah, you get your
And I
cell phone
racked
back.
up
You're like,
minutes.
holy
And it was like,
smokes.
Leopoldo
Yeah.
was like, can I talk to you? Yeah.
I also love in anything when someone is hanging out in someone's dark room waiting for them to show up. Dan does this to Valenti. Dan, the
Dan, the man.
So toward the end, he's like hanging out in his office in the dark, and then Valenti comes in and he's like, "Hey, Valenti," or whatever the fuck. And I'm like, "How long have you been in there?"
Creepo.
And
No,
yeah,
what
also,
about? Yeah.
You didn't know he was going to show up then, so you've just been hanging out in the dark, facing the door. I mean, this is insane.
and also, I think like Valenti would shit his pants.
I know.
Yeah.
Like you'd walk
Or
and be,
shoot
whoa, fuck! Like you'd like pull out his gun,
yeah.
like that would be
Yeah.
scary. And he was just like, "Hey, Dan." I was like, oh, "Wow, good for you." I was like, "Nerves of steel,
Yeah.
there, Bill."
Yeah.
Well, he's met aliens.
Yeah,
Nothing's-
classic. Just
He
it looks
was
cool.
very impressive how cool in the pocket he was for everything. Where I was like, jeez, I'd be
Yeah.
shitting my pants. And he was just so like, all right, well, call my lawyer or whatever, just,
yeah. That's true.
Do what you got to do.
yeah.
I also loved that. It's stuck with me all these years. I haven't like thought of it in a while, but I remember at the time quoting it to friends all the time. that guy's at the end when he's like, "That's impossible, physically impossible." And I'm like, I just remember being like, no, maybe the distinction they were making was like earthly it
Right.
should be impossible,
Right.
like according to what we know of physics.
Right.
But repeating it sounds like you said it wrong the first time, and you're still you're trying to like pretend you didn't say it. Like it
Right.
always sounded to me like, dude, edit the first time you say it out and just use the second part, because it's like all you need to do is say, "That's physically impossible," but going, "That's impossible, physically impossible,"
The
is
double down.
hilarious to me.
Do you think it was physically impossible and he missed the physically, and then as an actor was just like,
He's like,
I'll make this
Physically.
like that's impossible. In your brain, you're like, shit, it's physically impossible.
Shit.
And then just go physically impossible.
Physically impossible. I mean, it's physically impossible.
What other impossible is there? Mentally impossible?
That's exactly what I was like.
Yeah.
Why are we specifying this? And why? And the double up of saying it twice always killed me.
I guarantee you it was
impossible.
physically impossible, and he screwed up the line.
That's what it always read to me as,
Yeah.
but I don't remember, and
Yeah, I mean-
it's always killed me.
Oh.
There was this one part where Jim Isabel is like, I don't know, just so damsel in distress. These two guys are just watching her like, oh boy, her and her dream walking. And he's like, has that moment where he's like going to step up to her and be like, I believe you. But he does it and looks right at her rack. Did you see that?
Oh.
It was so wild.
Yeah.
I saw it. I was like, but for like he just looks down though, and it's
Yeah. He's like,
and then he looks.
I'm done.
sorry, what?
And
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it was crazy. Where I was like, what is this? Yeah. Oh,
And
I
I,
was like,
love though
okay.
that is what it takes. It's like you gotta have the boobs out to be believed.
I just think he was looking down. Because I literally like rewound it and went, is he looking for his mark? Like, is he looking to see if someone's? Because
It's too much.
well, yeah, like something doesn't make sense. Where he would. This isn't like stealing a glance. Like he's doing something else, but he has to be, but it really is like everything lines up to where you're going, holy shit.
It was truly like deer in headlights. It was amazing.
So cool to see Allison Lang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an old. I don't know if your listeners know, but that's a buddy.
Yeah, old roommate.
Yeah, an old roommate of yours, good buddy of yours, and then and I became good friends with her years later too. It was just cool to see. So yeah. Also with Allison at the very end, what was she said? It's like I know her.
Yeah, that's the alien. Allison's a hybrid. That's what she's. That's why she's going. Right. That's why she's going. Like crazy, because I guess she is part alien, and then they've been doing those experiments on her.
Got you. I wish that when she was collapsing that Perspex box that she accidentally crushed her head and was like, guys, let's get out of here. It was like that when I found it.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, they crushed her head. Looks like they crushed her head, guys. We should go.
I was like, wow, don't remember that. And like, unnecessary, this box. Just like, 8 inches underground.
Yeah.
I know, yeah. It was very, very shallow grave there.
Like maybe just like a scuba mask. Yeah, you could have just, exactly.
I thought it was very creepy though. Like it did for a teen show at that time, like head in a box, buried alive. With the oxygen tanks, it did have like a pretty dark, like 7-ish vibe, of like as far as you can go in terms of Kevin Spacey in 7 like that. Just all the maniacal shit. I thought it was pretty, I don't know, aggressive. I liked it.
It was. It was definitely scary.
Yeah. And the flailing in the, like they sped it up, but like the body in the bag that was getting dragged.
Yep.
Like that was fucking creepy.
I liked when he was like, yeah, these 2 teens are just riding along with me. But then Max was like standing like a foot behind them listening.
I know. And this whole really like pedo vibe that Sheriff's got going on is very uncomfortable.
Which thing?
The whole, I got these 2 minors riding along with me.
Yeah.
Even in the next episode.
Don't say that. You made it worse, dude. When you were like, hey, we're doing a ride along. It's like, oh shit. Way worse. Way worse than if you'd said they tipped me off.
The car broke down. Something. Yeah. Anything.
Just anything else, dude. It's
doing a ride along.
Doing a ride along because they didn't have clothes and we were looking for their clothes. What is happening?
Headlights.
It's the worst improvs.
I didn't think of it in the day, but back then, like with Bill, I certainly would have been reading that script now and going, because they want to hint at it too, like they do, because later on he works with this FBI agent and she's just like. Ride along with these kids is awful suspicious. And it's just like, just fucking, it is. But can we get the pedo stuff out of a teen it was, and like, not to Bill, like not the main, you don't want any sniff or let's not taint anyone with that unless they are, and then get rid of them.
It was a different time. It was a different time,
Oh, yeah.
Nick, do you remember what this is from?
Yes.
We had Mandy on, and we thought that she was traumatized from the time we got a stripper for Brown.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
She was like, oh, trauma? Are you talking about when Wilmer sang to me in front of everyone?
Wow.
And we were like, oh my God, that's right. And then got into a whole thing about that.
By the way, the stripper for Brown, you guys remember that maybe you don't. So
we do.
But do tell your side of the story, please.
Yes. So I was at the party and and I'm shy. I'm single and I'm shy and there's some girl at the party that I like. From my memory was she was going around like serving people stuff. And I just was like, who's that? She's like really pretty and like, I'd been kind of, I'm so bad. I can't talk to anybody. So if I have an attraction or a crush, I'm like always trying to build the nerve to talk to them, except who am I kidding? I'm not going to go over and be like, what brings you here?
What's it like passing apps?
Yeah. So I don't know. I wouldn't know the first thing about how to talk to somebody, but I was just like wishing I had an in, or wishing I had the nerve, and wishing for some organic moment to like talk to her, and but I've been like seeing her walk around all night. I was like, who is that? And I wish I could talk to her and all this. And then the music starts, and that girl goes over and is the stripper, like on my friend's lap, and I was like, oh, oh, and by the way, there's nothing fucking wrong with her job, or it's not like she's undeserving of being.
No, I know, but it was
just a funny thing to like
a wild
be trying to build
events.
the nerve to talk to this person.
And she's now picking up dollar bills from your friend's face with her vagina. This is what's interesting. Brendan and I mean, I have no idea, but I think it's safe to say, like, we were like, what? Like, it was just, it went to such a different level that I didn't know existed yet in life. Her number, her tight 5. And and that was like, it just was really shocking. Was that, what was your take?
Wait, which thing? Her number, her type.
Remember how type, like, like a stand-up set, but meaning like her routine, like it started off normal and she's like lap dancing and like takes the top off, whatever. But then when she creased the dollar bill and put it on his face and picked it up with her vagina.
Right.
With her gripper.
I forgot that. I forgot that part. Conveniently, because I was hurt, probably.
I didn't want to see the mother of my children, doing that to my friend.
Oh, we
yeah,
we traumatized a lot of people. You, Brown, Mandy,
Brown
ran out.
Like
Us.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. All right. Well, we will.
Thank
let
you so
go.
much,
Thank
Nick,
you.
for doing this, for
That was
humoring us.
awesome.
I love you a million.
All right.
For
we love
finding
you too.
out that Kyle was a Buddhist.
For some reason.
They sensed your anxiety about not having love interest. And so they're like, let's make him a Buddhist. Maybe it'll...
Let's give him something that definitely doesn't replace a girlfriend. Let's make it worse.
Celibacy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go.
Let's make him not even be able to jack off
Yeah,
about it.
exactly. Exactly.
All right.
All right. Well,
All right, bud. Well, we love you. And thanks for doing this.
Love you, Nick. Oh, hi.
Speechless. We're speechless.
Speechless.
Another
show I didn't get. Anyway, what a delight.
Because you can't shut the fuck up.
Because I had too much speech. Listen, this is really just the pot calling. A porcelain glass.
Kettle.
Nick, what a good sport he is.
He is. Oh, he's the sweetest.
Very patient with us.
He is very patient with us. And just, the not so much the acknowledgement, the giving of like just being so
the vulnerability.
open. The vulnerability of like, I wanted someone too.
Yeah. What is that like for you, the most unvulnerable person, to watch that? Does your butthole unclench a little bit?
We'll have to find. I don't know how we find that out.
Exactly. I was so hoping that your
I was trying
your
hard.
water thing went like.
Exactly. Oh yeah. And I loved that. We didn't have to. I didn't think we were going to get to the stripper story, and then we did, and again the vulnerability of offering up, because I was like, do we bring? I mean, not that we probably would have.
I know.
But I was waiting on it to be like, does he remember this? Does this ring true? Is it enough of a memory for him?
And when did you think that? Just because I was talking about the party? Or were you thinking that before?
Well, when you no, I wasn't thinking it before. I'd totally forgotten about it. And then when you started
that's what I was wondering.
Showing the pictures, the one with Mandy, where I didn't realize that's where we were all sitting. And then that kind of shoved it off to the Mandy song and then the stripper thing. And I went, oh, I wonder, okay, I want to see, I'm not going to lead the witness here. And then it was just offered up on a silver platter.
It's so good.
Oh.
It's so a testament to how sweet he is. But yeah, he was just so lovely, so vulnerable. At least in our book, because we're just riddled with shame. So that was lovely. I mean, Nick has had to put up with so much.
It's been a lot over the years. We're tough to handle. But anyways, yeah. Okay, well, between strippers fights, lonely lover, finger jobs,
wow,
and pearl necklaces.
Oh boy.
That's not pearl. What is it? Mesh?
Mesh metal. Feels painful. That's like passing a kidney stone. Yeah, exactly.
All
right. Well, on that note. If, like us, you loved Roswell and wanted to keep watching the push and pull of Michael and Maria, then check out our show, Baron and Toluca. A brand new story set in a familiar town in New Mexico where a familiar combustible love is still playing out, and where paranormal forces still have plans, whether you believe in them or not. Check out the first 2 episodes at www.youtube.com/@xfilespod. That's EXFILESPOD. The X-Files with Majandra Delfino
and Brendan Fehr is a production of Portholes Inc. Media.
Edited and mixed by Stephen Wells.
The music by Fred Corey.